You are Locked On Giants Postcast, part of Locked On Sports San Francisco on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Giants Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. You may know me as the former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR. And after 3 bombs last night, the Giants launched 3 more home runs again today on their way to a 5-2 win over old pal Bruce Bochy and the Texas Rangers. Wilmer Flores knocked 2 out of the park himself today, giving him 3 home runs in his last 2 games. And Logan Webb was back to his usual self as he tossed 7 innings of 2-run ball and recorded 6 strikeouts in the win. We will break it all down, but first, I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports San Francisco YouTube channel. Please, if you are not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button right now. Thanks also for listening on the Locked On Giants podcast feed. However you're getting the show, we appreciate you tuning in, and make sure to check out the Locked On Giants daily show for more in-depth coverage. Ben Kaspick does a great job. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code all lowercase LockedOnMLB for our first deposit match up to $100. As I just told you, Logan Webb was dealing. He was just cruising on the mound this whole game. I mean, usually we get a couple hiccups from him early on. Not the case in this one. Logan Webb, from the jump in today's game, was locked in. That first inning went pretty smoothly for him. I mean, he got those 1, 2, 3 real quick, and then struck out Jonah Heim to end that first inning. And the Giants got on the board early in this one as well. Wilmer Flores in the top of the second inning, He picked up right where he left off yesterday. A solo shot over the left field wall gives the Giants a 1-0 lead. A mistake pitch right down the middle, just a meatball. His 3rd bomb of the season, 387 feet. It was a sinker that Lorenzen left up in the zone and in the middle of the plate. And just as we saw from Sean Jelly yesterday, when you leave a sinker up in the zone, bad things happen against big league hitters. Wilmer Flores made him pay. Wilmer went 2 months without a home run, and now he has one in back-to-back games. And then he wasn't done there, as he picked up another one later on in the game. We'll get to that later on. But in the 4th inning, we'll get to it right now. Actually, there was something else I wanted to talk about, but we'll get to that later. In the 4th inning, Wilmer, another solo blast, his 9th career game with 2+ home runs, his first game with multi home runs since 2023, and last season's last year wasn't great, but Wilmer did turn on the heat in his game towards the end of last season. He became one of the hottest hitters in all of baseball during that summer. He just went bananas, and this home run also came on another meatball, but this time it was a cutter hanging out high in the middle of the plate, about belt high, 105 miles an hour off the bat. He just smoked that one. Also 387 feet, hit 2 home runs that went the same distance in the same game. Weird, but I'll take that any day of the week from Wilmer Flores. And man, oh man, is this guy really making us not forget about Lamont Wade Jr., but it sure makes the loss of him a lot less painful when you have Wilmer Flores turning on the heat, because when he gets hot, he becomes one of the best hitters in this Giants lineup. He can compete with anybody in the bigs. When he gets hot, his bat is just as good as any other good hitter in Major League Baseball. This guy, I mean, we know what he did last year. I mean, he brought his batting average up over 300 for a little while last season, and he started pretty poorly last year, the same way that he started this year, just kind of slumping and not really getting a lot of consistent playing time. But once he started to see more pitches, once he had kind of found his groove in the middle of the season, he really turned it on. And that's what I hope we are starting to see with him right now. Lamont Wade Jr. is going to be out for a little while. I mean, probably a month, maybe a little more. Maybe we don't see him till after the All-Star break, potentially. We need somebody to fill in at first base who can get the job done. And Wilmer is certainly doing that with the bat these last couple games, making us forget all about the fact that the Giants haven't really hit very well with runners in scoring position. We'll get to that in a second. And then in the top of the 5th, the Giants didn't score a run here, but Ramos picked up another hit, and I thought this was really impressive. This was his 2nd hit of the game. Came on a pitch that was low and away, not even a strike. It was a pitcher's pitch, and he goes down, gets it, goes to right field. His bat to ball skills are next level. I mean, this is Jung-Hoo Lee-ish, I mean, the who we thought was going to be the Giants' everyday center fielder at the start of the season prior to that shoulder surgery that he had to have. And now we got Ramos out there playing center field today. He looked all right out there. There was no real test that he had today, though. There was no real gotta have it play that we saw him need to make out in center. So I'm going to leave my judgment for Ramos's center field play as like a TBD. Like, we did not see enough from him out there to give him a grade on his performance today, but he keeps doing it with the Batman, and he's just seeing everything so well. I mean, to be able to go down and get a pitch like that is a guy who is so locked in, and we got to start talking about it. I mean, I even said, and I don't remember if it was last show or a couple days ago, I doubt that Ramos will be able to really make a playoff team. There's a lot of good outfielders in the National League, but I mean, he's certainly doing everything he can to make his case, and we gotta talk about it. We'll get to that in a little bit later on in the show as well. Then in the bottom of the fifth, Logan Webb finally gets into some trouble. The Rangers get runners on second and third with nobody out after a low single and a Langford double. Wyatt Langford, by the way, if you don't know that rookie, get to know that rookie, because Wyatt Langford is I mean, one of the top prospects in all of Major League Baseball. Very well could win AL Rookie of the Year. This guy has been is every bit as good as billed. He smacked a double that put runners at second and third, and then a sac fly, scores low. Rangers trim the Giants lead to 2-1, and then a Duran single on a ground ball up the middle, scores another. Rangers tie it up at 2-2. Webb was doing a good job getting ground balls. They were just finding holes, seeing eye singles. It's what he does. Webby puts the ball in play. He pitches to contact. He's gonna give up some runs. It's rare that Logan Webb pitches a shutout, but it's also very rare that he gives up a lot of runs or allows an opponent to put up a crooked number, because it's hard to piece together a streak at the plate or a rally at the plate when all you're doing is hitting the ball 20 miles an hour into the dirt every single time with weak contact and little dribblers out to second base and shortstop. That's what Logan Webb gives you. As I mean, it's like a Greg Maddux-esque pitching performance almost every time this guy goes out there. The way he utilizes the changeup to get that soft contact, very, very much like Greg Maddux used to do. I love watching Logan Webb pitch. It's one of my all-time favorite things to do or watch in all of baseball. This guy brings back like that old nostalgic era for me of baseball that I knew when I was a kid, which was guys who pitch deep into games and know how to manage their pitch count. Logan Webb tossed 7 innings today and only threw 94 pitches, 64 of them for strikes, living in that strike zone. And this is something that has been really not common lately. Giants pitchers have been having short outing after short outing after short outing. There's only one bullpen in baseball that has thrown more innings than the San Francisco Giants, and that is the Milwaukee Brewers. And the Giants starters have, conversely, there's only one pitching staff who has thrown less innings than the Giants, and that is the Brewers. So both these teams, the Giants and the Brewers, struggling to have their pitchers pitch deep into games. Obviously, you don't want to be dead last in or anywhere near the bottom in total innings pitched by your starters. That's usually not a very good sign. Thankfully, the Giants bullpen has really held up their end of the deal, but Logan Webb did his best to give them a night off. Then in the 7th inning, when it was still tied, Logan Webb exited after that 7th inning, but the Giants were able to take the lead just before he left the mound. Chapman drew a walk in the top of the 7th, and then Mikey Conforto smacked a 2-run home run for the Giants' 3rd home run of the night, and Conforto's first since he came back from the IL, puts the Giants ahead 4-2, 104.5 miles an hour off the bat, 404 feet. Michael Conforto's 8th home run of the season. Gotta feel good to kind of get off the pine and put one back out over the bleachers. I mean, Michael Conforto, when he gets hot, is one of the best hitters in this Giants lineup. If he and Wilmer Flores can't get hot at the same time, it makes you kind of not miss the loss of Lamont Wade Jr. as much. Obviously, you're missing the Giants most likely to make the All-Star team player. That is going to hurt anytime you're missing that guy. But this helps. This helps, man. If Conforto can stay healthy and get hot, we saw what he can do when he was hitting really well at the beginning of the season. I feel like a lot of those 8 home runs, well, if you exclude today's home run, his prior 7 home runs, all came pretty close together. I mean, this guy, when he gets hot, he is really, really, really tough to get out. The former All-Star is one of the better hitters in the league when he is healthy, and that's the guy the Giants need right now with all the injuries that they have on offense, and it's especially, well, and defense. I mean, pitching staff wise and defensively. I mean, not having Nick Ahmed out there for shortstop hurts them. Not having starting a full plethora of your starting pitching staff, like the fact that Alex Cobb is still nowhere to be found, just on a milk carton. Who knows where this guy is at this point? I mean, the Keaton Wynn injury, you need to start having production from this offense. You can't continue to place it all at the feet of the pitching staff because they are banged up too. Multiple somebodies need to continue to do some work for the Giants on the offensive end. I mean, it's great to see Wilmer Flores starting to get hot. It's great to see Conforto run into one here, but they need to continue to prove that they can carry this momentum going forward if the Giants want to continue to win some games. Then in the 8th inning, Thairo Estrada singles and wisely walks. And then Elliot Ramos, I mean, man, this guy's just so good. This guy's just money at the plate. A single up the middle for his 3rd hit of the game, drives in Thairo Estrada, and the Giants take a 5-2 lead. And that was more than enough for the Giants today. For Webb and Tyler Rogers and Camilo Doval, that was the 3-run lead. I mean, we'll take that to the bank every single time when Webby looks how he did on the mound today. Tyler Rogers came in for him in the 8th. When Webby exited, he had 7 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 5 hits, 6 strikeouts. His ERA down below 3, 2.92 after today's start. 7 groundouts, 94 pitches. As I said earlier, 64 of them 4 strikes. A great outing by Logan Webb. And Camilo Doval came in. I guess he's had enough of scaring us in the 9th inning before actually recording the save. But he came in and slammed that door shut for the save, and another Giants win. They're now 2-2 on this road trip, slowly building up, climbing that climb back to 500, man. With the win, the Giants record is now 31-33. The Rangers fall to 30-33 with the loss. Giants just 2 games under 500 now. And we gotta take a quick break here. On the other side, we're going to talk more about Logan Webb's outing, Elliot Ramos, his all-star bid, and Wilmer Flores easing the loss of Lamont Wade Jr. But real quick, before we go, if you got your Camilo Doval bobblehead with save counter, built-in save counter, this is the coolest bobblehead, man. The Giants got so many cool giveaways this season. If you got the Lamont Wade Jr. Splash hit anniversary bobblehead, like, good for you. That is like the coolest bobblehead I've ever seen in my life. And man, I need one of those so bad. So by the way, if you got one of those you're willing to part ways with, hit me up and maybe we can make a business transactions. Hit me up on Twitter at Eric, ERIK_Engel, ENGLE. But anyways, grab your Camilo Doval bobblehead save counter. Let's move this collectively together. 79. There you go. There's the camera. There's 79. There we go. Some nods from Camilo on the stream. Anyways, we are going to take a quick break. On the other side, more from today's game. This is the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We will be right back. Today's show is sponsored by Policygenius. Shopping for life insurance is something that can be overwhelming for many people, and that's why I'm here to tell you about Policygenius. Policygenius is the country's leading online insurance marketplace. It saves you time and money so you can provide your family with a financial safety net starting today. With Policygenius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million worth of coverage. Some options offer same-day approval and avoid unnecessary medical exams. Policygenius helps you compare your options from top companies, and their team of licensed experts is on hand to help hold your hand all the way through the process. Talk to a team of award-winning agents who will walk you through the process step by step, which is super important because many of you may not be as well covered as you think. Your work life insurance policy may not offer enough protection for your family's needs, and even worse, it might not come with you if you leave your job. Policygenius gives you unbiased advice from a licensed expert support group. They have no incentive to recommend one insurer over another, so you can trust their guidance. Check life insurance off your to-do list in no time with Policygenius. Head to policygenius.com/lockedonmlb or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. That's policygenius.com/LockedOnMLB. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and the Giants today, 5-2 win over the Texas Rangers. Good for the Giants to finally start piecing some wins back together, man, because that season-long losing streak, if the Giants can piece together a couple wins, if they can turn around and have a winning streak, maybe it helps us forget about that just a little bit, just enough that they can continue to tread water until Lamont Wade Jr. comes back. More of these injured pitchers come back. I mean, Blake Snell also on the injured list. That's a name that we just forgot about earlier. I mean, this Giants team is really, taking it on the chin with injuries this year, man. There's no two ways about it. But you got to find a way to persevere, to move forward, to keep on keeping on. And the Giants are doing their best with Wilmer Flores, Lamont, and with Lamont Wade out, and Conforto coming around. Chapman's been playing a lot better. Even Soler ran into one the other day. He picked up another hit today, just 1 for 5 at the dish, though. But the guy who, he's been the straw that stirs the drink since he got up to the bigs, Elliot Ramos, man. This guy, another multi-hit game, and not just a multi-hit game. He had 3 hits in this one, including an RBI. He's in the leadoff spot now for the Giants, and excluding today's stats, this was prior to today's game. Since the start of June, his batting average, .412 with 7 hits, 3 home runs, 6 RBIs, and 5 runs scored. His OPS during that time, over 1,500. There's only one player in baseball with a better OPS during this last week. His name's Juan Soto. You might have heard of him before. You know, that guy who was won the World Series with the Nationals, is like one of the best young players in baseball for the Yankees. And that's the only guy in baseball who has a better OPS than Elliot Ramos over this last week. And this guy, what he is doing for the Giants cannot be overstated. He is every bit as good as billed, as advertised. And I think a lot of Giants fans, myself included, were kind of down on him coming into this year. He had a decent spring, but he with what we saw from him last season, I know that I wasn't super excited to see Elliot Ramos come back up. He's not who I was holding my breath for from this young class of rookies. I thought that I was way more excited personally to see Matos and Luciano and see what they could do. Here we go with Ramos. This guy has been so good. It's been exactly what the Giants have needed, just a shot in the arm for this team. His walk rate, he doesn't qualify for a lot of these MLB percentile rankings if you're looking at his baseball savant page, but man, every single thing on this page, if he qualified for it, he'd be in like the top 10% in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different categories of big league hitters. Average exit velocity, bat speed, barrel percentage, hard hit percentage, walk percentage, all of these numbers would be among the best in baseball if he was a quote qualified batter, if he had enough plate appearances to qualify for these things. But this guy it seems like every time he hits the ball, it's a missile coming off of his bat. We talked about this as soon as he came up. It seemed like every single time that he hit the ball, it was a hard hit ball somewhere. And I feel like he kind of got lost in the Gabe Kapler, galaxy brain type management style, which was this old regime. Now that they got Bob Melvin, I think they're much more complacent with guys who aren't just chasing home runs all the time. During the Gabe Kapler era, we saw, the 107 win Giants, they had a ton of home runs as a team. They led baseball in home runs, I believe, that season collectively as a team, without any single one player hitting more than 20 home runs. Every single Giant on that team was just trying to hit the ball out of the park that year. They were so focused on things like launch angle that guys who were more gap to gap guys got lost in the mix. And that's what Ramos is. This isn't a guy who's going to go up there and hit 30 home runs, maybe ever in his career in a season. This guy is going to get you a ton of doubles, though. He's, especially at Oracle Park, he's going to hit you some triples into triples alley. And he's a plus defender with a really good arm. And you see the bat to ball skills. This guy knows how to put the ball in play, and he knows how to hit the ball hard somewhere. And we say this all the time on this podcast. Barry Bonds, we're going to go by the words of the greatest baseball player to ever live. If you hit the ball hard somewhere, good things will happen. That's what Elliot Ramos has done. And damn, there have been a lot of good things coming off of his bat lately. I mean, again today, 3 hits in this one, the RBI when they really needed to have it. Ramos has been so good for this Giants team. Without him, this would just be a putrid season. I mean, this injury barrage would have just been so much worse without a guy like Ramos to kind of smooth it out a little bit. So tons of credit to the rookie. The big question with him is has he done enough for an all-star bid? If he keeps up this pace over the next month, which I keep saying they're going to slow down eventually, and they all have, except for this guy. This might be the one that sticks. This guy, I think, has an opportunity to continue to play how he's been playing. I mean, there's been no signs of him slowing down. The pitches that he is hitting, it's not like he's going up there and hitting challenge fastballs or pitchers are hanging balls in the zone that he's just capitalizing on. I mean, he's doing that too, but he's also going down and getting tough pitches to hit and getting on base when the pitches aren't there. He's drawn walks. I mean, he drew 6 walks in the last 2 games of the Diamondback series, just between those 2 games. So this is a guy who's figuring out how to get on base, and he adds a lot of speed to the Giants. He's not the best base stealer, but he has a ton of foot speed and can get first to third on singles and score from first on extra base hits. It's something that the Giants have really lacked in a lot of seasons past. And I've said it a million times, but man, I'm mad that they sent Matos down to Sacramento, but if they sent Ramos down to Sacramento, I might have to go form like a picket line in front of Oracle Park or something, because this guy should never, ever, ever, ever play a game in AAA again. Look what he's doing. This guy's insane. He's incredible. And if he continues to go on this run, I think he's going to force people to really, really make a choice as to if he deserves an all-star bid or not. I mean, if he keeps up this 1,500 OPS a whole month of June, I think there's no choice but to put him in the All-Star game, despite the fact that he missed like a whole month plus at the beginning of the season while he was down there in AAA. Without Ramos, this Giants team is boring, dead in the water, and lifeless, honestly. Like, he has given them so much to root for, and I mean, gives fans a reason to go out to the yard. You want to see this guy play. He is electric, and he's so fun to watch. I can't say enough good things about this guy. He is really, really, really not single-handedly, but damn near single-handedly kept this Giants offense afloat with Lamont Wade Jr. out. We also have to acknowledge Wilmer Flores doing everything he can do. 2 bombs today, 1 yesterday. If Wilmer can get hot too, with the way that Ramos has been hitting, as hot as Wilmer is capable of getting, and if Conforto can get hot too, man, this starts to look really good for this Giants offense. Excuse me, but I mean, you still want to see Soler heat up. Chapman, he's been doing his thing, still consistently getting on base every single game. The batting average for Matt Chapman up to 240, the OPS 728. By the way, the OPS for Ramos this season, 931. That's even though he has been on this crazy hot streak, that's really good, man. Love to see that. We got to take a quick break. On the other side, we'll wrap the show up and talk about Logan Webb's nice day out on the mound. Webby getting back to form on the road, which is a big deal for the Giants. We'll explain on the other side. Stick with us on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We will be right back. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with over 5 million members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. You pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections for a chance to win 100 times your money. Baseball season is officially underway, and there's no better way to cash in on the action than PrizePicks. Add your favorite players from the diamond to your PrizePicks lineups all season long, whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs. Take your pick of more or less and add them to your PrizePicks lineup today. You can now win up to 100 times your money with baseball-only lineups on PrizePicks. If you submit a winning lineup featuring 4 Demon Squares, you'll cash in big time on the biggest moments of baseball's early season. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. It's PrizePicks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel, and today the Giants 5-2 victory over the Texas Rangers. Bruce Bochy's guys, man, I love Boch. Just seeing him walk on out there, that slow walk to the mound, and I can just hear him in the back of my head. I can just hear that voice constantly, like the infamous soundbite of him talking to Brandon Belt after he got promoted to the big league club, and Brandon Belt's sitting there crying in his office, and Boch just looks over, all right, you need a beer? Grab a beer. I'll love Bruce Bochy, man. One of my all-time favorite dudes. I've had the pleasure of actually getting to talk to him a time or two back from the KMBR days when I was the producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show. And man, that guy, none of it is a bit. That guy is who he is 100%. I don't think anyone would ever think it was, but it's just something about here. I could just listen to that guy talk all day. I just want him to read me a bedtime story every night, just so I can hear the pipes, the Bruce Bochy rasp. I mean, it just, I miss this guy in a Giants uniform. It breaks my heart to see him manage another team. I'm sure it does. I'm sure all of us feel that same way. That's a topic for another day, though, because today Logan Webb was dealing on the hill. 7 innings pitched, 2 earned runs. Webby doing his thing, and that's really good to see on the road, because he really hasn't been all that great on the road this year. We've talked about this a few times before, but this is just his second win on the road for Webb. This is just the second time the Giants have won a game that Logan Webb has started on the road this season. His ERA on the road before this one, 4.34. So that's looking a little bloated, especially compared to his ERA at home, which was 1.71 coming into this one. It still is 1.71. He didn't throw a pitch at home today. He didn't magically travel to San Francisco from Texas in the middle of the game. So today he really exceeded what he's been doing on the road all season long. Didn't give up a ton of hits, only 5 hits, which is really good for that batting average against, which was up 287 on the road coming into this one. Didn't allow a home run. Logan Webb really did the damn thing today and helped the Giants in every possible way. And that's what an ace does, man. It's why winning last night was so important, because it set the Giants up to have Logan Webb come in today and do his thing against the Rangers, which the Rangers offense isn't bad, but it looks very similar to the Giants. I mean, you look at team statistics. I mean, the Rangers and Giants have the same amount of RBIs. The Rangers have 4 more home runs than the Giants. The Giants have 3 more walks than the Rangers. These guys are so close. They're within 15 strikeouts of each other. This offense, both of these offenses are so close to each other. I mean, their batting averages is just 4 points different from one another. Their on-base percentage also just 4 points different from each other. Their slugging percentage 2 points different from each other. These offenses are almost carbon copies of each other. It's kind of funny, but Logan Webb did his job, and Logan, if these offenses are kind of equal, and it's Logan Webb versus Michael Lorenzen, give me all the chips down there on Logan Webb every single time. Logan Webb is Webb day is win day, man. That's how it's been since he's gotten here. The Giants record with Logan Webb on the mound has been great since he got here, and today was no different. Logan Webb really doing everything he could do to get the Giants the win today, and that's what the ace does. He's Logan Webb for a reason, man. I mean, some fans thought that maybe Blake Snell was going to come take that title from him, but no, not at all. Not at all. I mean, Logan Webb, the changeup was working today. The 2-seamer was working today. There's not a single thing that this guy can't do. And his ground ball rate is still among the league best, 56.3% of the time he's getting a ground ball. And today he got 7 more ground outs. Logan Webb some of his advanced metrics don't look as good. And that's because a lot of these advanced metrics favor guys who don't pitch to contact. But that's why some of these numbers are just what they are. They're data points. It doesn't tell the whole story. You got to look at the whole thing. In certain things matter more than others. in the game of baseball, getting outs really is the number one most important thing. And Logan Webb does that pretty damn well. I don't really care what his expected ERA is, what the expected batting average against is. I really don't care about any of that stuff. Look at this guy going up there throwing 92-mile-an-hour fastballs, getting dudes out in the year 2024 at the rate that he is doing it. There's not really another starting pitcher in baseball that does it like Logan Webb does. There's really not. At least no one that does it as effectively as he does, the way he does it. It's a blast from the past every time he's on the mound. It's old school pitching, and I love to watch it, man. It makes my little baseball heart happy, and I just wish Logan Webb could pitch every day. I mean, no, I don't, because his arm would fall off his body, and he'd have to retire in like 2 years. But I wish every time that I turn on a TV, I could just watch Logan Webb pitch, and it would just make me feel so much better if he could just pitch every single game. But yeah, we can go back to like 1910, right, where guys just have like one starting pitcher just throws like a million innings. I don't think that's ever going to happen again. Logan Webb, man, I'm so glad this guy's a Giant. Elliot Ramos, I'm glad that this guy's up with the big league club, finally out of Sacramento, not toiling down there in the Inland Valley anymore. Does not ever need to wear a AAA uniform again. In Logan Webb, perhaps the most important thing he did tonight was give the bullpen a night off, because you only had to pitch Tyler Rogers and Camilo Doval. You pick up the save, you get the win. Everybody goes home happy. Elliot Ramos, 3 hits in this one, including an RBI. The Giants keep on rolling. Wilmer Flores, 2 home runs. The Giants, 3 home runs as a club in consecutive nights. I mean, who is this club? The long ball working this way? The Giants, well, I should have mentioned this before. I meant to earlier on, my mistake, but they were really bad again tonight with runners in scoring position. 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position. 11 runners left on base. But you know what helps you forget about that? 3 home runs. The Giants can keep hitting home runs. Maybe this runner hitting, batting average with runners in scoring position thing doesn't really matter as much. So we'll see if they can do it again tomorrow. The Giants take the first game of this 3-game set from the Rangers, from old pal Bruce Bochy. And I'm just glad that we get to see Boch for the rest of this weekend, man. I as I said, I love Bruce Bochy. I know all of you do too. Wish he was still in orange and black. Really do. That's all the time that we got for you guys today. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be coming to you live tomorrow, day game tomorrow. It is a 1:05 Pacific time start out there in Arlington. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next time. Peace.